Hi everyone, so this is obviously not the best quality of videos, but I was actually just sitting here and I was about to do my nails, and I was pondering or just thinking about an experience that I had in the past, or like 10 years ago, and I thought maybe I should share it with you guys because maybe some of you guys have had similar experiences. Maybe you're, dealing with this now, and maybe this can possibly help you or give you some sort of red flags or advice. I don't know if I have any advice to give, but, I wanted to share this with you guys a while back ago because it's something pretty big that happened to me, and I was always afraid to. I feel like just thinking about it brings me back to how afraid I was 10 years ago over this situation, because it's a sensitive subject and it's kind of weird. Anyways, so from the title, you guys probably already know what this is about. And a lot of people have been doing like story time and sharing experiences that they've had. So I figured I would just sit down, share my experience. I have more stories to tell that aren't so bad, but I figured I would start off with this one because it's important to me. It's definitely one of the bigger experiences I've dealt with, unfortunately, and yeah. So this happened my senior year of high school, and if anybody were to ask me, like, what was the worst year of high school, I would be a little conflicted because senior year, in a way, was one of my best because I met, the love of my life. I met Jose my senior year. He had moved from Idaho, and we hit it off pretty quickly, but it was also the year that I was dealing with this. And so, yeah, I would be very conflicted because I would have to say my senior year, unfortunately, because this just really messed me up. Just kind of give you like a little synopsis, I guess, of how I was back in the day. I would say if you were friends with me then, you're probably not friends with me now. And what I mean by that is that I'm a completely different person than I was then. And it's sad to say because I'm much more reserved now. I'm not trusting at all. Like, it takes a very long time for me to build a bond with someone and actually trust them and believe their words as gospel, or just believe that they are a good person. And a lot of it has to do with this particular experience. But in high school, I was always talkative, and I was fun, and I loved making friends, and I was friends with a lot of people. I would say I had a lot of friends, very little close friends, but I had a lot of friends, and I was friendly with everyone, and I feel like I had a good relationship with a lot of my teachers, all throughout, my whole education. This was like actually, I had another incident when I was in second grade, being bullied by a teacher. So I did have some experiences with teachers, but for the most part, my teachers, we had a good connection, and it was professional, but I bonded with them. I could talk to them about things. And yeah, I was just, I was a fun person. Now I'm just kind of very reserved, very kept to myself, and I don't let a lot of people in, and I don't let a lot of people see my silly side and things like that. I'm very, serious and to the point. But anyways, so I know this was like such a long intro. I'm sorry. I'm actually just getting over a cold / bronchitis. So, yeah, if I have coughing fits, then that's probably why you will see some choppiness. But, yeah, so my senior year, I'm not going to say any names or which class it was, just in case anybody else who actually knows me on a personal level sees this. I know you guys can respect that. So, I'm not going to say any names. But, yeah, so my senior year, the particular class where this happened was actually very crucial for me because that particular class or genre, I was really horrible at. And I excelled at everything except this particular genre. And to this day, I suck at it. But I needed this specific class, and I needed this requirement in order to graduate high school. So it was very important for me to pass. And when I found out who my teacher was, I was so thrilled because this teacher that I'm about to talk about, he was actually the teacher of the year the previous year. So I was just like over the moon about it because everybody was talking about him, how wonderful he was as a teacher and how, wonderful he was with his students and how, he just bonded with everyone and he kind of melted in with the students, which that's a red flag, by the way. But at the time I was just like, yes, a cool teacher. So I was really excited and looking forward to having him as a teacher. And he, at the time, this was 10 years ago, but at the time he was, I would say, in his mid-30s. So he was a young teacher. And he seemed fine. He was really great at teaching what he taught, and I was learning a lot from him. And I had a pretty big group of friends at the time in that specific class, and we learned, but we goofed around and talked and things like that, and like I said, I was always very talkative with my teachers, always very respectful, and maybe he took that a different way, I do not know, but everything seemed fine until about like 3 months in. It would be little things, like he would notice what I was wearing, and he would comment and say, oh, well, I love your top, you look really pretty today, I like the dress that you're wearing, or things like that. That is another red flag. I do not think that teachers should be commenting about what your attire is. I think that they should focus on teaching and teaching alone. But my naive self, I just took it as a compliment. Thank you, okay. I feel like all of this happens really, really fast, too. But then after that, like, he would give us back our homework, and he would, have little notes, like, you need to work on this, you did excellent, A+, whatever. But then he would, like, write, like, little notes. Nothing to do with our class, by the way. And, again, like, he would comment on what I was wearing. And he would write it down on my homework. And, I feel like that was so forward, and to this day, I'm so surprised he did that, because he must have had the confidence that I wasn't going to tell anyone, that I wasn't going to tell my parents, which I didn't, because I was so kind of weirded out by it. I think after he started, like, passing notes that particular way, I kind of was, like, off-put by him, and I was like, I'm going to try to not talk to him as much, as long as it has to do with this particular class, then I will discuss whatever, but other than that, no. So I kind of, just, like, focused on the class, tried to, I gave him the cold shoulder, but, I didn't want to be, like, really noticeable about it, because I didn't even want my class to know what was going on, because I felt ashamed in a way, like, it was my fault, like, maybe I was giving him mixed signals, which I wasn't. I was just being nice, you know. I'm just a nice person. And so I just kind of kept to myself. And then he kind of got angry, I would say. There was one point where we had a pretty big test. I think it was our midterms, or, you know, one of our big exams. And it was very important to me because, I needed to pass this class. So I studied my butt off. And I got an A+, and I was so thrilled. Now, the rest of my class got C's, D's, F's, nothing above a C. So I was the only one with an A, and, you know, I was pretty notorious for not being so good at this particular class. So, you know, my classmates were kind of shocked in a way. And I wasn't really too shocked because I did, you know, my fair share of work. I really studied. And he was very, very rude about it. This just makes me emotional just even thinking about it. He took my desk and he brought it up to the class. And this was when I think I went out for like a bathroom break. And after we all had received our grades, and he took my desk, brought it to the front of the class, and on the whiteboard, he put an arrow down to my desk, and he said, "Cheater, sits here." And he had me sit there. I can't believe I actually sat in that seat, and I wish that I had told someone, you know, the principal, whoever, another teacher, my mom, but I didn't. I don't know why. I didn't. And that was when it hit me, like, I need to be nice to this teacher, or he may just flunk me. That was my mentality, and that was like the most important thing, was passing this class. And so I said, okay, well, I'm just going to go back to being nice to him. I'm not going to ignore him anymore. And you should never feel pushed into doing something that you don't feel is right. And a situation like this, you should definitely tell anyone. Anyone. So after that incident, I just kind of, I laughed at his jokes. I tried to present myself as happy and nothing was wrong, and I was nice to him. I didn't ignore him. There was a lot of other red flags. Like, I remember a time where another student walked into the classroom and asked him about the previous day's homework or something like that. And when she walked out, he said, and I quote, "I would hit that." Now, that is not a comment that any teacher should say. Ever. And actually, a lot of students were shocked by that. And he just kind of, you know, oh, it's just a joke. Like, really? I wouldn't do that. So, you know, and like I said, he had this, like, cool facade. Like, everybody loved him. He's like one of us. And so he got away with a lot of things. And that's what's so scary. So, after that, there was a couple other incidents. My class before that was on the second floor, and this particular class was on the first floor. So, the class that I had before this one was on the top floor, on the other side, and you only had about, I can't remember, I mean, it's been 10 years, but I believe you only had like 4 minutes to get to your next class, and, you know, you had to grab your books and all this stuff, and the traffic alone, you know, would get you to be late. But he knew that my class was really, really far away. And so, he was a little lenient if I was a little late. But this one particular day, I was like probably 5 seconds late. Seriously, I was never really late at all. I was always like there in the nick of time. But that particular day, I was like 5 seconds late, and he gave me a detention. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I had to stay after school for that detention. And another red flag. He said, well, no one else has detention, just you. And you're going to serve it in my office. And I was like, what? Why can't I just serve it in the classroom? And he's like, well, I always lock the classroom after 3:30. So I'm like, okay. So I go to his office. And he's just showing me his office, nothing impressive, but I guess he wanted to give me a little tour of his office. And this is going to be like really freaky, but there was like this huge poster. It was like one of those posters of the world. And he was showing me his huge poster, and he lifted up his poster, and there was several other pictures of other girls from the past that were probably way older than me, and some other girls that I actually recognized. And I was like, why do you have those pictures underneath your poster? And he just chuckled. He never actually answered the question, but just his laughter said it all. And whether he did anything with those students, or whether that was his source of entertainment, if you know what I mean, I don't know to this day. But it actually like scares me just thinking about it. And again, it's something I never told anyone. I told people like after the fact, but when that incident happened, I didn't tell anyone. I was just scared, to be honest, and I was like, I don't want to be one of those girls that's behind that poster. I can tell you that. And he was just really, really weird. I feel like there were times where he would even come to school. Like, I would have his class. There was one particular day when I would have his class in the mornings, and he would come in, his eyes all bloodshot, reeking of alcohol. I mean, I kid you guys not. This teacher had issues. And there were times where, he just didn't even want to teach. Like, he would just take his laptop and be like, yeah, just read chapter whatever, and he would just be on his laptop. Like, it was just strange. He would have, like, his ups and downs, and just, like, weird moods. And I had several other detentions after that, and he was always very, like, up close and personal, even in class. Like, he was so up close and personal. If I asked him a question, he would be, like, right in my face. And I hated that. And he wasn't like that with other students in my class. And people started noticing. And I remember one student called him a pedophile. And asked him why he was treating me this way. And it was making me uncomfortable. And why didn't he notice it was making me uncomfortable? Unless he didn't care. And I remember the teacher just got so mad from that one comment, and made him go to the principal, which is so crazy, again, because he had the confidence that this student wouldn't say anything, the full story. It's all bizarre, really. I remember, and this is another crazy, crazy incident, really, really crazy, but when it was time for, around that time when senior prom was coming, the teacher asked me, do you have a date? And I said, yeah, Jose, my boyfriend. And, like, his face completely changed. Like, he was not taking that. And then the next day after he had asked me that, I was like, I don't know where I was. It was like after school. He stopped me and he said, "Oh, I'm just letting you know, I asked my wife if I could be your date for the prom." And she said yes. And I just laughed it off because I honestly, and I think that this would be anybody's reaction, I thought that it was a joke. I truly did. The guy was not joking. I laughed it off, and the next day, the same thing. I asked my wife, she said it was okay. And, got to the point where I was like, are you serious or are you joking? And he's like, no, I'm serious. I'm actually going to be one of the chaperones at this prom, and no one would know the difference. The guy was just bizarre. He was off his rocker. Really. I don't even know what was wrong with him. But clearly something was wrong with him, and he thought he was going to get something from me, which he clearly wasn't. When he realized that, I was like, no, that's not happening. I have a boyfriend. When you have to explain this to your teacher, it's bizarre. And he would just continue with his advances and kind of be aggravated, I could tell. And he said, well, I can bring alcohol. I know how to hide the alcohol, and I can bring it in to the party, to the dance. And he was explaining to me how he would bring, like, the little Fujifilm canisters where your film would go in, how he would fill them with alcohol. Dubra or something like that. I forgot which alcohol he was talking about. But nonetheless, alcohol. And I was like, how? What? I said, I'm not that type of person. I'm sorry, I'm not. I don't know why you think that I'm like that, but I'm not. I don't even drink alcohol. And honestly, I didn't. I hadn't even touched the stuff. And at the time, I was 18. But I was pretty, like, a clean girl, clean cut, and follow the rules, I like to have fun, but I follow the rules. And I was like, no, I'm not that type of girl. I don't know why you're taking me for that type of girl, but I'm just not. And you're really making me feel uncomfortable. And I don't know if it was the same day, but I just remember leaving school, and I had to walk home because I lived pretty close to the school, and I couldn't even walk home because I was so upset. And I just remember just plopping myself in the middle of the street and just bawling my eyes out until one of my friends came down and asked me, what's wrong? And that was the first person I actually told, and she was actually in my class. I hid it so well. I hid every incident that I had with this teacher so well that she had an inkling, but she didn't really know how far this teacher had gone. And she was shocked. And I'm so glad I told her because one of her, like, former best friends was actually in that same class. And even though they had, like, a falling out at that time, she confided in her. And my classmates all kind of, like, talked amongst themselves, and they said, we need to do something for Sarai because she's not going to do something for herself because she's so, I don't know, like, I guess I was very naive and I didn't want to cause trouble, like, I didn't want to make a big scene, and I felt like, oh my god, like, there's going to be, like, newscast everywhere. I don't know what I was thinking. Oh my god, like, Channel 3 News is going to come to the school and going to, talk about this incident and expose everything. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I think I kind of, like, scared myself crazy. And, anyways, so my classmates went to the principal and told him everything, like, every single thing. and it was nearing the end of the school season. So they actually got a teacher's aide to just kind of like sit in and watch the class, and he could not have any contact with me whatsoever. And I think that the principal should have done something else, like just completely fire this guy right off the bat, but he didn't. He let him, finish his year, and the next year they let him go. But I was to have no contact with him. But during that school year, like, I was terrified to go to the class. I just didn't even know what was going to happen day to day going to that class. And there was one particular day where I didn't have that particular class, and I was just like the happiest girl. That was my favorite day of the school week. But before even my friend finding out and telling the other classmates, I hadn't been eating. I was losing weight, and my mom I was depressed, and my mom would ask me constantly, like, what's wrong? You're not the same. And I would just say, it's just, stress of school, and, it's just normal school stuff, nothing to worry about. And I wish that I had told someone. I'm just, like, remembering different incidents as I speak. But there was another incident, and this is when I kind of, like, started dating Jose, and you know how it is, like, kids talk, we talk amongst each other, oh, you're dating so-and-so, and he kind of had, like, I don't know, like, his face has changed. He was kind of weird about it. He didn't want us talking about it. And I remember that specific week we had, like, it was like a movie day, and you could invite one of your friends to our class and watch this movie. And I was like, oh, cool, okay, I get to invite Jose, and he can just, chill with me. And he let every student choose whoever they wanted to come to that particular, like, movie day. And he didn't allow me to bring Jose. He said I couldn't bring him for whatever reason, and there was, several people that had their boyfriends or girlfriends come in that particular day, but no, not me. And so he had a source. He had, like, control over me, and he knew he could control me, and that's not good, he was just very perverted. Like, if I wore a skirt that particular day, he would be like, the shorter the skirt, the better. Like, make stupid comments, and he would, like, take my pen and just, like, knock it to the floor, as to, like, have me pick it up and bend down. I wasn't having it. Like, I had another, like, guy friend beside me, and I'd be like, can you pick that up for me? Because I'm not going to bend down. And he would just do weird things, and he would be very sneaky about it. He would do it at the perfect time, like, always the perfect time, where no one else was really looking, and it always looked like something else, and horrible experience. And as he would pass my desk, he would always, like, graze me, and just always touch me, and, try to make it look unintentional, and just have these, like, smirky faces, and he was just a horrible person. There's, like, so many other incidents, but this video would be, like, an hour long, and actually, a year after that, I went to an amusement park. It was, like, a water park, and it was, like, a state away from where I live. And I was so excited. It was my first time going to this particular water park, and lo and behold, he was there. And at that time, I was actually getting undressed. I had my bikini underneath my clothes, but I was, taking off my top and getting ready. And he was in the same, like, locker area with his two children. and he approached me, and my heart was like dum 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 dum, and I didn't know how terrified I was of him until that incident, until I saw him a year later. I was terrified. And, he kept it really casual because his wife and his 2 kids were there. But to this day, I'm like, why did he even talk to me? Honestly, why didn't he just keep it moving? And I think it was just to scare me, and he knew he would scare me. And there are incidents when I'm in the car and I think that I see him passing by in his car, and it freaks me out. Anytime I think that I see him, it just freaks me out, because I wonder, what is this dude capable of? He didn't get to me, but did he get to anybody else? And hopefully, from him being let go, he won't harm anybody else or harass anybody else. And I hope that he's not teaching anywhere else. I truly, truly hope not. But I believe, that can't happen, since, everything's on record now. But yeah, one of the scariest situations, and I really stress this, if you are in a similar situation, it doesn't have to be a teacher. It could be anybody. If anybody makes you feel uncomfortable in a certain way, if they say certain comments that you're not comfortable with, or touch you when you don't want to be touched, anything, do not be afraid to tell someone. It will help you, and it will help the next person that they do this to. And, I'm so much different now, and I wish that, I had done things a little differently. But, this was a learning passage for me, I guess. But now, I'm just a little bit more reserved now, and I don't trust hardly anyone. And this is the main reason. It doesn't matter who it is, it could be your teacher. Anyways, I hope that you guys are all doing well. I know that this, again, isn't the best quality, but I just wanted to sit down and chat with you guys. I didn't want to, get dolled up, even though, I put a little makeup on, but, get dolled up, set up my camera. I'm still not feeling too well, so I just want to keep it personal with you guys. And if you guys have had any similar situations, please feel free to private message me. I will definitely write back to you. You can leave me a comment down below, and I would definitely appreciate it. I hope you guys are all doing well. God bless.